Okay, formatting in the CLB. Anytime you want to format and you have a question, just come to the doc orientation, and below the information then there is the explanation of what I'm telling you right now, and then there's an example below. So anytime you have a question, just come here, but we're going to go step by step through it all. So all of this dark orange, as you can see, this is just the information that's copied over from here, from the teacher portal on VIPKID site. So we're not going to talk about that because that's just copy and pasted from the site into your personal lesson bank. So we're going to be talking about this bright orange. So if you notice on the master lessons, we only have the SN code and the lesson name, but on your personal lesson bank, you'll enter all that information. So now we're going to talk about what's in this bright orange section. So the first one is the lesson outline, and that we're going to talk separately because that one's the hardest spot. So we're going to outline that in the tutorial. The next one is our student in-class notes. The in-class notes are really easy because they're already in there for you. So you never have to do those. They're already in the master lessons. The next one would be the lesson goals, and the lesson goals comes directly from the teacher's portal. So if you come to the teacher portal and you come to this materials, and once you open it, then it's this class info that will populate right here, and you simply highlight it, Control C, or you can right click and copy, or if you're on a Mac, Command copy, and then you come back to the lesson bank, and you can go to the lesson, the master lesson, and then you paste in this lesson goals. And then props and lesson notes, these are personal things that you figure out would be valuable when you're teaching. Oftentimes this is easier to fill out after you've taught the lesson, but you can go ahead and look at it before and after, whichever. And it's just, props are any props you might think someone might want, not just props you used, but say like a baseball would have been really nice. I don't have one, but a baseball would be nice, and you'd throw that in there. And you just highlight, you just label it, so like props, colon, and then list all the props. The other thing you can do is have, you can enter lesson notes. So if there's something that you wish you would have known about that specific lesson before you taught it, but now you know it because it's after, put that in the notes section. So sometimes it's like, if it's a really full lesson, keep to your pacing. There's a lot in here, you got to keep moving. Or if there isn't very much, then it's going to be like have extensions because this lesson's a little dry. So those are the types of notes that you might want to put in there. So chicken, beef, pork, pronouns, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the next are the digital rewards and props. So if you're a mini cam, twist, blah, 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 all the millions of options that are out there, if you're one of those digital users, this rocks, because this is the huge selling point, because then you don't have to find new things every single day that relate to your lesson. That's what's here. So, or if you have one, if you're teaching a lesson and you're like, oh, this reward would be perfect, or this would be awesome, all you're going to do is put the reward. If it's a reward, put reward, and then say build a farm animals, and the link to the site that you're doing it. Or if it's a prop, the link to the file or the Google Drive or whatever it is. Just write what it is and put it in. So that could be Google Slides, that could be Manychem files, that could be a website. Any kind of digital thing goes in there. Then the next one is the reward system. So this would just be whatever reward is used in the lesson. So the way we want to do that, I'll just show you. You don't want to see it on this one. Well, we can. Okay, so say that we're doing this reward system. So you do whatever the background is, and then / the manipulative. So in this one, it would be there is no background. So nothing / mops and brooms. Or if you're doing monkeys and bananas, it would be monkey / bananas. Just so whatever is a suggested reward, it's in there. You do not have to use those ones. This is a great place for if you, after you've taught the lesson or before, you can track them right here, what you actually did. But what we put in the master lessons are just like this monkey bananas, what the suggested one is. Then after that we have let's come back here. So that we did the reward system. Now we have tips and tricks. So if you have a tip or a trick for how to teach something in that lesson specifically, let us know. put what it is and then the link to your YouTube video. Or if you wrote it down, maybe you didn't make a video, but you just wrote something down and it's on a file that you can share. Put that in there. There are lots of these. It can be anything. It could be like contractions or bossy E or if there's just a crazy slide in there. All the time we see on Facebook those ones, how do you guys teach this? If you see one of those and you have the answer, put it in that lesson entry. Let us know, like, don't get hung up on this slide. So you just put slide 5 and then explain how you teach it. That's what the tips and tricks are. So that's tips and tricks for this lesson specifically. And then after that, we have the bank feedback. And on the bank feedback, we want it to be very general. We don't want any performance reviews or things specific to that student. So we don't want to say things like this: it was nice to meet your child. No, because what if it was a regular student coming back? And trials, is the reason why is because this is a trial lesson, so you're going to have just met them. And so then it would be appropriate. But on the irregular ones, we want it to be generic. So we want it to just say, it was nice to see your child today, and use your child instead of like his, her, or name or something. Write it so that you could copy and paste it and it would be generic, but it would be fine. That's the goal. Number 1, no performance reviews. Number 2, write it entirely as you would if it was copy and pastable, so that if something gets missed, you don't look like an idiot. If you do the him and her thing and you miss one, then it looks real bad. So we want it to be as is, copy and pastable. And then after it, we want to write a performance review. So if you wrote something that indicated that they were able to do something, so it said like your child read this story, that indicated an ability. And so then you would put positive. Or if it said continue practicing the vocabulary words, then that's something for them to work on. So that would be a negative performance review. So just put an asterisk, put if it's a positive or negative, and then put in the performance review. If you ever have any questions on the CLB, we have this tab, key or feedback, key descriptors, explaining all of this. So then it tells you, what is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of a positive? What is the meaning of a negative? What is the meaning of a positive or negative? And then you want to do your find and replace. Now with the find and replace, you put find and replace, put a new line, and then you're going to put in each thing that's specifically for that specific feedback. The key is not shareable across other ones. It's just for that specific one. You want to put in what you're going to copy out to make it more personal. So for example, this one is a lowercase your child, and then we're going to replace it with a name, with a capital N name, with an uppercase your child, and then an uppercase Y, lowercase c, because we don't. So sneak peek on the quiz, we would never write an uppercase C. You would never say your child with an uppercase C. So if you ever see that, that would automatically be a bad feedback. And then the uppercase name. And so then you're telling the person coming after you, or you the next time you do it, everything that you need to do in the find and replace feature to make it personalized to that specific student. So there's a link. I will put a link to a specific video really outlining this in more detail if you have any more questions about it. We just want it to be generalized, no performance reviews. We want it to be good as is, but no names, no specific things. And then we want the performance review and the key, the find and replace key. So those are the things we want for the bank feedback. Now, we have a bank feedback, we have an alternative bank feedback, and we have a 2-parent feedback, and this is not for the CLB. So the reason why we have this, we have 2 different options that you could put in for bank feedbacks. And so if you're just to have a different style of writing, if there's one, like for example, there isn't a second one here, great, put in a second one. So it's just so there's, like, see how this one is numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this one's written in paragraph form. So whichever your style, now you have 2 different options. And we do the same thing. We always put in that performance review, and we always put in the find and replace. And then when you're in your personal lesson bank, that's where you fill out what you actually wrote to the parent. That goes right here. So let me open up my personal lesson bank really quick, and I'll show you what this looks like. So here's one option I have, and then here's another option. And this student's going to be, who is it? Amy. So this is my personal lesson bank. So I'm going to pick one of these, and then I'm going to follow it and see if it works. So for example here, copy, paste. So now all of the ones that I actually write to my parents, I'm going to put here in my to parent feedback column. So that when I want to search for what I actually wrote, it's here. But I keep these ones, the templates, so that then I can copy it back into the collaborative lesson bank. That's the real important part, that we keep we don't change these and we do change these. That's why in this column in the actual collaborative lesson bank is empty, because that's where we're putting our to parent one. But in the personal lesson bank, we don't want to edit these, so that we can, if we make edits or updates while we're teaching, like, oh, this would be a great prop, or oh, this is a good teaching tip or something, that's great, then we can easily and quickly copy it back to the collaborative lesson bank, but still we have in our personal bank a record of what we actually wrote to the parents. So you copy it over. Then you're going to do Control H if you're on a PC, or if you're on a Mac, you're going to do Command Shift H, and it'll bring up this find and replace. And the way you want to remember H is help me write feedback. Help me, I want some help. So H for help. Then this will come up and you're going to just follow it exactly. So this one says it only used capital Y, your child, and then I'm going to do Amy. And because there isn't anything else, I'm not going to match the case because there's not another one, but I just want to select specific range. So it's only selecting this one. If I do all sheet, it will do it in your entire lesson bank. So you don't want to do that. You just want the specific range, and it'll be highlighted. See, I can click around and then it would change, but this is the one that it's doing it for. So then I want to do replace all, and then done. So now let's see if it was a good one. We'll see right here live. So Amy did a fantastic job learning about people in my family today. We began by reviewing the letters and there's blah blah. Amy did an excellent job forming. Oh, see, this was a positive performance review because it says Amy did an excellent job. So, and it indicated that. So today's lesson featured the characters Lisa, who introduced her family members. Amy practiced blah blah blah, and did a good job of reading phonics. Amy also did a good job counting, identifying the positive. Ding! Perfect. So that is all done. So now I would delete this, and then I could go in and put in the specific. So in my real lesson, I would have taken notes over here in the in-class notes, and then I could take that, what was specific about that lesson and her lesson, and then I can put it in here. So this one's really positive. So if they just nailed it, this is the only one I would only want to use this one if they nailed it. Otherwise, I'd probably would have picked this one, which is a little bit less like, oh, they did a great job, did a great job. So I could personalize, like, oh, she struggled with this, or keep working on this, and then I can type in my name, and that's what I copy and paste to the parent in the parent feedback. So now I have my personal one, and then I still have the feedback template, or the templates that go to this collaborative lesson bank untouched. So that is how you do the formatting for those, and I'm going to show you how to wrap it up after. And then the last one really quick that I want to do first are lesson tags. Lesson tags are blank in the collaborative lesson bank. We never put anything in there. They're just a personal lesson bank thing. So the column is there, and how you use it is in your personal lesson bank. This is to tag lessons for something outstanding. So for example, maybe you had this great TPR moment, or maybe you had something weird happen, like naked dad walked by, or maybe you had really bad IT issues, or maybe just something that's outstanding that you would want to pinpoint or find that lesson later, because sometimes after you've taught a lot, they all blur and you don't know. So this is just to tag TPR or IT or student no-show or something like that, something outstanding, so that later if you want to find that lesson, it's quicker, because then you would just search by that, you'd filter that like no-show or TPR or something like that, and then it would come up quickly. Okay, so that's how you format everything. Now I want to show you how after you've taught so you use your personal lesson bank to teach live. So say as I'm teaching, I notice that, oh, they updated the lesson, so now every slide's one off. So I go through and I fix those as I'm going along. Or maybe I update the lesson goals because they've just done that. They've updated a lot of them to include more information. And so I've updated the lesson goal, whatever it is, or I add a prop, or I add a digital thing, something I've added or updated. And we want that. We want, if something's wrong, or you have something to contribute, or you have a great teaching tip, please add it. We want it in the collaborative lesson bank. So what you want to do is you want to add it, and then what you're going to do is you're going to come over here, and we're only taking the light blue. So remember light blue, but the first thing we want to do is we want to get the SN code. So say we're going to do Grace's right here, which we should just find one that we really want to do. So like these are my, okay, so we'll just do that. So say I'm coming here, which is Grace's lesson here. Say we're going to update this, because maybe it's old. I don't think it is old, but we're going to see. So I come here, sorry. Okay, so I came here, I highlighted it. I'm coming to my personal lesson bank, and then I'm going to put it in here and replace it. Okay, let's pretend it's new. Ooh, there was an update. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this, the SN code first. So Control Copy or Command Copy, and then I'm going to come to the lesson bank, and while I'm in the master lessons, see I'm in the master lessons, I'm going to do Control F, and Find in Sheet's going to pop up right here. And then I'm going to paste it in here, and it's going to populate the lesson. It's going to quickly find it, so you don't have to scroll or click through. You don't have to do that. No scrolling here. Just Find in Sheet, and it's going to pull up right here, and it's going to jump you to that lesson. So now I'm going to jump back to my, I should make these right next to each other. That's another good trick. Oh dear, I've resized it. Oh no, I've pulled it out. That's what's wrong. Sorry. Here we are. So if you notice, orange collaborative lesson bank, personal lesson banks are blue. So your personal bank is blue, collaborative is orange. We made those different colors so that they would pop out so you don't get them confused. Because if you're going back and forth a lot, sometimes you might start writing on the wrong one, and we don't want that. So now you're in your personal lesson bank. We've got the SN code. We copied it over here and Find in Sheet. Now we're here. So then you come back to your personal lesson bank, and we're going to highlight what we want to copy and put back in this collaborative lesson bank. So we highlight the first cell, which is G right here, and then we're going to scroll over to the last one. So there's not two banks or feedbacks, so I'm just going to do till N, but otherwise it would be till O, but not here because we don't want to take our personal stuff. We just want to keep the collaborative stuff. So you hold down Shift, select the last one. Now see, it highlighted everything in between those two cells. So now I'm going to right click and copy, or Control C or Command C, copy it, come back over here, and I'm going to start again on the bright orange. So see, bright blue, bright orange. There's method to the madness. And you're going to, don't double click, just single click, and then Control V. And it's going to pop up, heads up, you're changing something. If you're meaning to change it, then we click OK. I did this so that people don't change things unintentionally, just to try and keep the collaborative lesson bank a little safer or clean. But if you are meaning to change something, which I am, then you click OK, and then automatically it'll paste in there. So now my new update is in there. So that is how we teach from our personal lesson bank. We update in our personal lesson bank. If you're writing a new lesson, you're making an entire new entry, you won the lottery and got one of the lessons that we don't have yet in there, then you fill it out here in your personal lesson bank, and the reason why we do that is to avoid spending time in the collaborative lesson bank, because if the more we're in there and you leave it open and you're editing in there, more likely you're going to make a mistake. But if you're just doing it in your personal lesson bank, and then once it's all ready, you copy it from there and throw it in the collaborative lesson bank, it keeps it clean. That's also why even if you're not into the express personal lesson bank, you don't want to pay for anything, I give you that template for the a la carte personal lesson bank, because I don't want anyone messing up the collaborative lesson bank. So like you could technically copy your SN code and then jump in between. It would take a lot of work to do that, to actually use it that way, but that is why we do it, so that we keep the CLB as clean as possible and as tidy. So anyway, that's how we do it. You just copy from your personal lesson bank, slap that bit back in the collaborative lesson bank, and then that's how we keep it, the collaborative lesson bank, updated. If you have any questions with formatting, again, you can come to the doc orientation, and the one in orange, these are the explanations of how to do it and what you should be doing, and then this is an explanation of what it should actually look like, or an example. Hope this helps. Please let me know if you have any questions at all. I want people to understand and know how to use the collaborative lesson bank, because this is the heart and soul of it, that it's collaborative and all the teachers can join in and put in their flavor and their taste and the things that you want personally for the next time you teach this lesson. If you put it in the collaborative lesson bank, then it will be there. If you put it in your personal lesson bank, it will not be there. So if you want anything to populate again, because it's for the lesson and not for that specific student, Then you put it on the collaborative lesson bank. Okay, good job, you guys. Peace out.